Hello everyone, a highly unusual video I'm making today. We are going to disassemble a G&G ARP 556. I thought it would be a good idea to maybe make a video about it. The goal here is to take it apart, open up the gearbox and look at something that is causing a lot of noise. My suspicion is it's the Spur Gear that is coming in contact with the active brake lever. I'm suspecting this because I've opened it up before. This time I have a printer set up so I can print out a spacer, hopefully fix this issue with the noise. Maybe this disassembly works with other G&G replicas out there, but don't take it for granted. This is just for this replica. So let's get started with the body pin here first. This is what I always start with, and boom. Oh, I just threw that away. Okay. Kind of opens itself a little bit because there is a spring in the hop-up unit right here. I'm not gonna get into that too much, so let's just put it there. Here's the gearbox, and you might be wondering what the actual fuck is this big crack in here. The reason for this crack is so you only need to remove this screw and maybe another screw to remove the spring. And what's the reason for that, you might ask? And that is because this particular gearbox or this replica is not a quick spring change replica. I need to open up the actual gearbox to access the spring. So I'm gonna start with the mag release. This is a max mag release of some sort. One common issue that I've learned with experience is it's very easy to strip threads or screws. So make sure to use the correct bit sizes. I took the left side of the mag release out. On the default ARP 556, this might look a little different, this type of removal. But nevertheless, it's mostly the same. There is a screw on either side. You have to unscrew it and then, well, quite simple, everything just kind of falls apart. Next up, I would say I would want to remove the fire selector. It turns out that both of my fire selector screws were extremely stripped, so I kind of had to improvise here. But in your case, just unscrew both sides of the fire selector and you're done with this step. Very, very interesting way of accessing the screws, but hey, it works. Come on, there you go. There might be a small bearing, no? Okay. There's a missing bearing here, which is probably why it sits so loose. Okay, that's fine. Mag release out, fire selector out. Now I would probably remove the motor as well. Allen key screws, which they are. So I like to just put some force with my thumb here. Okay. And then we can release. And here's your motor. Once you have removed the motor plate, I recommend that you take a picture of this opening where the wiring is visible to you. This is so you don't accidentally connect the wrong cable to the wrong pole on the motor when it's time to reassemble your airsoft gun. This can short circuit the system. So I always use the plier to remove them from the contact. What's it called? The plug, or whatever. There's a little plug there. This cable is a bit longer. You probably don't have an excessively long red wire like I do here, so just simply remove the two wires from the motor and pull out the motor and you're done with this step. So now that I have most of the things out, I need a long screwdriver. I need quite a thick bit. There you go. Now it's out. And I want to do this shaking thing to get the screw out and this metal plate, whatever you want to call it. All right, let's get the cables out of this. Make sure to not rip this out. There's a risk you might damage the cables, and that will be very unfortunate. Take your time with this type of stuff. Now we need to remove another body pin. So sometimes I can do this like that. It went out just fine, but sometimes it sits quite firmly. I think it's this way. Yeah, that way. The smaller body pin I'm removing right now can be a tough nut to crack sometimes. So in your case, you might want to try the other side or use more force. There. Okay, there's 2 screws inside the pistol grips on the very bottom. You need to get them out. Okay, it's very recommended that you have like a magnetic tool. I have one here. Okay, put that on there. There you go. Start with the black one and try not to damage the cable heads. Pistol grip is out. You can now remove the gearbox from the lower receiver because there's nothing else holding it in place. Just be careful not to squish any cables, and don't worry about there being a gear or 2 falling out. Or held in place. There we go. And then, bada bim, bada boom. Okay, now this one fell out. But before we do anything, guys, listen to me here, all right? This spring here, this one can pop out and you will lose it forever. So I will do this preemptively to just remove it so I don't lose it. I have to use like a plier or something. There we go. Put this here. Gears you can actually just remove by force, but it might be the other side. Oh! Okay, I just got that into my face. This is how the gear looks like that, and like this. Put the gears where I can find them. Okay, so my camera unfortunately overheated a little bit, so I lost some footage here. I also removed the plate. I will show you how you do it. So it sits like this, and it moves like that, back and forth. There might be a better way to remove this, but I do it this way. I pull it all the way to the left, but you want to pull it a bit like downwards so that the top slider kind of pulls out of this rib, and then you can just pull it out. It might be a little different for you. Now, probably won't have a crack like this as I do, but this is the side you want to open the shell with. So you want to lift the right side of the shell up, not the left side, because then all your gears will drop down like that, and we kind of want to take things apart one by one. Please bear in mind that I have already removed the spring and the spring guide from the left-hand side crack that I showed earlier. I think the best way to open this up is to slowly separate the shells until you can reach the spring with 1 or 2 fingers to help keep it in place so it doesn't launch to Mars. So when you're doing this, please make sure that you're in a room where there's no TV or anything that you might not want to damage. Okay, I can sense it's starting to, yeah, there we go. We'll lift it apart like so. Okay, and I will open this very carefully because you might have shims on these bearings or bushings. In this case, all 3 or 6 bearings inside this piece are ball bearings. Some people have bushings. So in a bit, okay, things are unfortunately falling apart a little bit here. So let's pull out the bevel gear. This is what we will be looking into, this little piece here, the active brake. And as you can see here, there's a bunch of shims on the tip of my finger. These shims, I believe, should be sitting on that actually. And these shims should be sitting on this. Don't want to mess up the stacking of the shims. So we want to pull out the piston head, sorry, the whole cylinder and everything. There's a little feather here connected to this piece. So we want to put pressure on that so it doesn't fly off. You can simply lift everything off. Just remove the spring first or do it in one piece like I'm doing right now. Here you can see the piston head. Every now and then you want to lubricate. There's a little rubber ring here or O-ring. I'm going to put that there. Oh, here, there goes the spring. Let's put that there, not to lose it. This is a tappet plate, and there is a nozzle here. With this brass part here is the cylinder, whatever. Put that there for now. Anyway, the trigger can now be also removed. There is a little spring, not spring, but yeah, you will see what I mean in a bit. Lift it up like so. Have to remove this, the trigger brake. So this is the spring that goes into that side. There's a little hole here. So here is the next, or actually the third in the train, the sector gear. Remove that, make sure all the shims are still on. And this is the spur gear, the thing that's causing what I suspect all the noise. Just put that yeah. That's why you don't want to be doing this on floor mat, but I do it anyway. All the shims are out. Maybe this one to remove the brake, trigger brake. I don't actually know what this is called, but I call it the trigger brake. Oh, yep. And there's a slight spring on that one as well. So like that. If you lift this up, this piece also goes with that. So it's a counterpieced thing that sits like so. But we start with the MOSFET if you have one. We put this screw here. Should be just one screw, yeah. Let's put this over here, okay. And then the last part. Now we have an empty shell. And now we will be testing the sound of the Spur Gear. The disassembly is pretty much done now, if that's what you came to see. From here, I will continue to figure out how to solve my sound issue. Maybe there is something more to learn. So I'm kind of simulating with my finger here. And I can clearly hear the stress. You hear that? There's like... That's not good. Let's remove the active brake to verify. This should make zero noise, or next to zero noise. Smooth as butter. It is this. This is the issue. Now it's up. No noise. Now it's all the way down. Okay, time to get into some 3D stuff. There's gonna be a tiny bushing here, just lifting it up very slightly. Hopefully that won't be a problem, because obviously this side also has to go somewhere. Here, goes into this. Okay, it can actually go up to the top, but last time I looked, it kind of looked like that, not this. It looked like this. There's a bit of play here that I have, which is really, really good. This is exactly what I was looking for. So let's have one of these. If you don't have a digital measuring tool, whatever this is called in English, get one. It is super helpful when you're shimming your gears, for example, which is not something I'm gonna cover in this video. Okay, 3mm. I'm thinking like a maximum of 1.3. Let's try this. Just very quickly, something that I realized someone might ask, why are you not using the normal gearbox shims like this one to kind of fix the problem here that you have? And the reason is that the outer diameter of the normal shim is a bit too large for this to make the whole point of increasing the distance in the Z-axis here. So I need to basically make a shim out of plastic that is more narrow in the outer diameter, but also fit this at the same time. Now this one, it definitely fits. It's too wide. It needs to be no larger than the whole outer edge, which my nail is kind of pointing at. It needs to be no larger than that. If it is larger, it will also be hitting the Spur Gear edge. 2 hours later. Okay guys, this is the first sample. So this will be a little hot. Okay, they come off quite easily. Let's see if it fits. Yes sir, first one fits perfectly. Let's see how this one works. Let's hope this one actually doesn't interrupt the closure of the upper shell. Okay, and it closes quite nice. Let's do a spin test. Oh boy. Okay, that is something I did not think about. We have a little spring, so that needs to go. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. There's gonna be an issue with that. the shell is not closing all the way. We have a new batch of very thin shims. So let's try it with the 03. First here, very tiny shim. I'm amazed that the printer even was able to print 02. That's not a lot, but hopefully this doesn't give me any issues closing the shell. Okay. Nope, no issue closing. Yeah, it spins without any grinding like noise. You can only hear like kind of the pin or the towers like just touching the bearings. It's kind of the bearings that you hear here. If you hear anything at all, I don't actually know. But that works. 02? No, sorry, 03. What about 04? So 2, 3, and 4. Because the thicker layer I have, the less chance of the plastic it will break. And I am a little worried it might break just out of that spring. I don't think so, but at least let's be on the safe side. No grind noise whatsoever. I am happy with that, actually. Okay, let's go 04. Let's put this back on and just triple check the shimming. Let's just double check. These guys shouldn't make any grinding noise. No. No grind. Let's check the play. Like there's like 0.1 millimeter here. The bottom one. Like 0.15 probably. Selector gear goes in. This is basically the sound of the gap in between the teeth of the sector and the spur gear, which is in some cases very hard to shim or do anything about really. Yeah, I'm happy with this. All right, let's put this bad boy back together. I decided to cut the footage out of when I'm reassembling everything because of a very annoying flickering effect caused by my headlamp. Just put every piece back in the same order you took it out. If you are worried about the assembly sequence, you can always rewind this video and follow the chapters added in the video timeline to backtrack anything you are unsure about. I'm using 032 BBs right now. I have gained meters per second. And it's empty. Back out. All right. What the hell? This is like kind of news to me. That's why I'm so excited. Before I started shimming and making this video, I had 65.9, around 66 meters per second in performance with these BBs, with this chronograph, no setting change whatsoever. Only thing I've done is put in the spacer that I printed. And I've just gained quite literally like is there like an average thing here? So we can clearly see out of all the bullets that went single fire, I am around 73, 72, around 72, 73 meters per second. I'm always looking to improve the overall quality of my videos, so please leave a comment if you have any questions or want to give me some valuable feedback. Give a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to not miss out on future uploads. I also post gameplay videos every now and then, like the one you see on the screen. You should check it out. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Peace.